What's up? Huh? Yeah. Here, baby. Um, Hold on. Okay, I think we're back. What's up, guys? Gonna see how this works. As you can see, I'm in a new location. Have to wherever the virus is, I'll stay away from the virus. Here, I won't keep it on. So, as you know, uh, it's real. I mean, the numbers aren't as crazy as they would have. They made the models to say, but we're in a good space. Today we are sponsored by Tito's. Tito's, this is American. It's an American brand. I support America. Believe Tito's is made in Texas. Shout to Texas. If after we're done with our ventilators, if they need them, they can have them. Shout out to all the essential workers. You know, all of you people who are forced to stay home. I'm sure you're probably uncomfortable with the living situations, and so I just say make the best of it. I did a something about COVID-19 a couple weeks ago. You guys can check that out. See if there's any information that you might benefit from in that one. This will be new. Um, Again, this is about ethics in research. We're going to talk about that, especially when they're talking about a lot of new drugs and stuff. They want to push a lot of therapies. You may hear them as therapies. They're drugs. They're drugs. Um, we're also brought to you by Budweiser. I believe this is in so shout out to Jersey. And this is one of the things you can do while you're quarantining. Drink beer. I wouldn't drink too much beer, unless you're going to be doing like pull ups and push ups and stuff too. You know, wash your hands. When they say it's in the air, so I would imagine when people cough, you definitely want to have it up, you know, just because it's in the air for a while. And so it gets on stuff. So, I would immediately, if you don't already have it up, especially if you're going to be in public spaces and move, just to take the extra precaution. I won't take up too much of you guys' time. Hold on. It's my connection. My connection is good now. I'm in the boonies, so pardon the connection. But yeah, so I've been chilling. I've been staying low key. I'm not sure how the visual looks on you guys' side, but I'll do my best. Okay, it's more about what you hear, I guess. Some of what you see. Okay. But yeah, so we've had issues. Uh, let me start by this point. Ethics and research is really important. Okay, especially when you're talking about people's lives. We've had issues in the past. People in disparaging communities usually get the bottom end, the rations of whatever is out there, and you know it's it's not a strike at our president, but he made he made a remark maybe a couple weeks back, and it was in response to the basketball players getting tested, and he was like, you know, depending on where you are in life, financially set, you may be, more able to get a test, and that's just the way life is set up. So, I mean, with that assumption and with that agreement, you'll have to look at the other side of that coin and say, okay, so people who don't have money, people who don't have those kind of finances won't get the same resources. And so it's the allocation of resources, um, and it mostly are financially involved. So again, when you talk about ethics and research, it's really important that you are ethical when you're disseminating the research, when you're giving it back out to people as again how it's supposed to be understood. You know, you have to make sure people understand it the way that you want them to understand it, and with that, you should be ethical. Again, a lot of people may not necessarily adhere to that. So I'm just gonna give you some things to think about as you think about these drugs that they're pushing out, and not to say that these drugs aren't going to work. You know, there may be a cocktail, as I said. You know, those people who remember the AZT cocktail, something of that fashion. That may be what they're doing now. You know, listen, guys, I don't take pride in being right. You save lives as how is that service good? Yeah, as these people are pushing these drugs are purporting they to be. Not to say that they'll be bad, but again, we're just hoping that these people are ethical. And when we talk about ethics, these are examples of some ethics situations that didn't go necessarily right. So there was a Nazi medical experiment. They did a couple of things. They were experimenting back in World War II. But I would like to focus on the pharmaceutical testing. You know, they did something as far as like gas poisoning to test antidotes. Um, and again, people in power abusing their power, you know, and using there being a disease, or they were it had something to do with malaria and things of that nature back then as well. Or maybe not malaria, but whatever diseases that they were fighting. Maybe it was malaria. We'll let the we'll let the energies agree. Um, the Tuskegee syphilis study. I'm sure a lot of people in the African American community remember that one. You know, where they injected some people with the disease and unknowingly, and so again, um, these are things that we want to think about when we're making sure that people are ethical, because these things have happened in the past. The Belmont report um, was pretty much talking about clinical trials, and that's kind of where we are today. Um, so that's just basically where we are to make sure that there's a beneficence of the drug that they're using, that it's gonna be a positive for people. You know, it's not gonna harm them. That there will be justice. I mean, and you're gonna give it to the people who need it, even if they can't afford it. And also that you have respect for the people who are disseminated, who the drugs are disseminated to. So it's it's to make sure that you have the right doses for the right people. Make sure that people have the right prescriptions, and you're not just saying that okay, this works, but you're not establishing the guidelines in which these drugs should be administered, or even these therapies. Okay, so code of ethics. Let's go. We'll start with that. Um, Listen, guys, this is the new normal. I'm adjusting. Um, Protecting human subjects. So avoid harming research participants. Um, Understanding the definitions of harm, self-impression changes. For consent forms, debriefing. Three, avoid deception. Um, Meaning deception is only used for experimental purposes, and we'll go into that and a little more in depth, definitely. Number four, maintain privacy, confidentiality, procedures for ensuring confidentiality. So This is all again about protecting the human subjects and protecting the people who these drugs are administered to. Um, Again, with this new disease, as you're seeing the way that the Asian community has been treated, uh, reportedly, um, there's a stigma associated with the disease, to as though people don't even want to say that the people have died from these diseases because it's to say maybe you yourself are infected and things of that nature. That it's scary. No one wants to be associated with it, and especially because it's associated with death. And I mean that's understandable, but it's also to understand what we're saying. Um, Again, the code of ethics. Avoiding harming the research subjects. Again, making sure that the people are getting the right doses, making sure their bodies can take these things. Um, Explaining to them if they do take it, that these are the things that could happen, these are the things that couldn't happen, and explaining and making sure that they understand that. Foreseeing risk, again, assessing what the risks are so whether you can let these people know. Because I would imagine if you are a respectable physician and you administer a drug to somebody, you don't want it to kill them. I would hope that wouldn't be your aim. Um, Again, going over informed consent, making sure that people are understanding that this is what's going to happen. Even if you have to do a diagram. you know I mean, again, you're probably in a dire situation, especially with this current epidemic, but even in for like other epidemics that may be coming in the future. um must be voluntary. These people cannot be forced to take these things. You can't force these people who are incarcerated, perhaps, and saying that this is the new thing. You have to take these drugs, or you won't get this, or you won't get that. Persons must be competent, fully informed. Again, people know what's going to definitely a consenting age to administer these drugs, but also that people, um, I mean, and these are reasons why there's a code of ethics, because again, some people may not adhere to these things, and that's how a lot of people are taken advantage of, and we don't want that. And in that, if I were to die in a motor vehicle, maybe letting the family know, or explaining the history on the drugs, explaining explaining what the process is going to be with the aftercare, things of that nature. Uh, Avoiding deception is definitely about avoiding deception, because you don't want people to to maybe, again, you may tell people that this drug is going to cure them, and after they take the drug, they don't have to worry about affecting other people, and that may not be true. you know you haven't done all your research. And so, with that being said, well, wait while they reconnect. Okay, that you might have infected other people. So you want to avoid deception, because those type of things could happen. Number four, maintain privacy, confidentiality, and that means procedures for ensuring confidentiality. So if if you know that there can be stigmas associated with, that people can be ostracized because of this information, or maybe other information is included in the information that you obtain on it, and these people may or may not want this information to be given to outside uh, places, organizations, then it's their right, and you have to maintain confidentiality. So again, if you can thin the line of people that the information gets to, okay, when you talk about the results, maybe, it shouldn't go through the doctor, then the nurse, then the care worker, and then the person at the office, and then it's mailed. That may be too many people for them. They may, just want to be able to get the information from their doctor, and that's it. And that's their right. Okay, so 2, we're going to talk about maintaining honesty and openness. Okay. And the code of ethics, there's an obligation to disclose. Again, you have to let people know what they're getting into, what they're doing, why it's going to benefit them, why it's not going to benefit them. And when you talk about methods of assessment, what measures are you using, or what information are you using to make these claims? Non-disclosure, if it doesn't work, that these people aren't liable. I mean, another ethical way that you know you're being honest with these people. Like, listen, I'm trying to help you. You might die unless you don't get this. It worked for her. It may not work for you. I'm just telling you. I don't want you to sue me because I'm telling you that it may not work for everybody. It may not work for you. But I mean, I did the research. I'm an ethical guy. I did the research. So, but maybe I'm 75%. Are you willing to go with that 75%? Some people willing to go with 50%. Again, and it's also depending on where you are in your situation. And that's another part of the ethical situation, because if you realize that people are in dire situations, you have to, you can almost sometimes contemplate God. You know? Some people pray on that. And they're not just in the medical field. That's in real life. I'm sure some people can attest to some things like that. Okay. So about another 10 minutes, guys. Number 3, achieving valid results. Research should be unbiased, objective. Methods need to be valid. Okay. So research should be unbiased and objective. I mean, they want to find out who's got it. Let's test everybody. That's been objective. It's here. It's in the house. When you're looking for roaches and stuff like that, they use and rodents. They usually bomb the whole house. You may only see them located in one area, but why take the chance? Bomb the whole house, and if there's anywhere, they'll be dead. So that's how you kind of gotta approach the research. We're gonna test anybody everywhere. We're not gonna worry about the financial background. And that's again only based on what you're researching, because even in any research category that you create, you have to be again unbiased with the information that you're trying to achieve. Because if the information is going to benefit everybody, then it's no reason to sully the good information by purporting something in a way that comes off biased. And that's what I mean. The objective again should be unbiased. And again, your method should be valid. You shouldn't be, only getting say, oh well, this population is that because of this subsect of the community that you tested. It doesn't work like that. Again, unless you it's one of those per capita situations. Out of 1,000 people, I've tested 50 people. So depending on those 50 people I tested, you have to again say out of the thousands of people that could have been tested, I tested 50, and 10% of those people were such and such, and you have to be specific in that. Number 4, encouraging appropriate application. how research will be used, complications of sponsored research. So, okay, I'll start with the second one. Complications of sponsored research. This was a little bit about the issue with the China information, and I'll grant the current administration to try to understand it that way. Um, that when you don't have your own information to go by, then you have to go by what other people are telling you. And that's kind of how I am with research. You really can't go by what other people's telling you. You should do your own research. And so, when I watch the news per se, I'm not just watching one channel and let these people beat what I like in my head, or, keep, I want to hear what this person has to say, what this person has to say. Again, we're a big country. There's so many points of view. And if you don't have an understanding of where everybody's kind of in this, then you're really not giving America what it deserves. And then the first, how will the research be used? Again, for instance, with the census, this information that they're tallying up, they're telling us that the allocations of funds will go by based on where the population is. And so then the information can't be doctored up. Then people who need the money won't get it. So that was pretty much my synopsis tonight. That's ethics and research. Make sure you subscribe and share, and leave notes in the comment or whatever if there's other things you want me to discuss or maybe got questions about. Keep your scarves. In Jersey, we're doing pretty good, guys. I hope that, again, our systems are strong enough to withstand whatever's coming, and I hope that you guys' faith out there is strong enough to withstand whatever you're going to go through. And Brock knows best on that one. Oh yeah, these are no good. These are definitely and they're made in Nicaragua. Trump stopped these at the border. It's going to do something. Go America. Again, support America. Our sponsors tonight, Rito's Vodka, helping me create a mask to wear to my local deli. And thank you for Budweiser in Newark, New Jersey, for allowing me to stay sane and a little content during this epidemic. If you have not already, check out Merch Diamonds 2. Cache, it's probably somewhere in my videos you see. Tomorrow's show will be much earlier, and I can't remember exactly what we're going to talk about, but it should be a good show tomorrow. It's going to be at 4 p.m. I'm trying to do the shows Monday through Friday at 4. All right. So, Zoom. Do I need any outgoing music? No.